Good morning. My name is Joe Bandel, and I am the last Rosicrucian. Today we're going to talk about an update, the Gaia Ascension update. Yesterday was the new moon. Today's the 23rd of May, and what happens between now and the next full moon is, to me, one of the most important times during the yearly cycle of energies that go through the earth. Obviously, the last full moon was the Beltane or Wesak festival, and the next full moon also has a name which is called the Christ Festival. And it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with religion or things like that, but it's fascinating because from this new moon, which was yesterday, until the next full moon in slightly like 2 weeks, everything matures. That's the key element of what we're going to be talking about. The energy, when you talk about the cycle of the year, the new energy, incoming energy, comes in at the winter solstice, and it vitalizes seeds. I'll use a nature terminology, and those seeds are vitalized, and then in the spring they grow up, they shoot. Then there's a point of breaking open. Then there's a point of where the shoot actually comes out of the ground. It's not hidden any longer. It's, you could say, born. And the time from spring until this coming full moon is basically the maturing cycle. So by the next full moon in 2 weeks, everything will have matured. Now at the summer solstice, which is coming up also, that's where the energy shifts again into the harvest cycle. So you could call this the flowering cycle, but it's basically the maturing cycle. And what's happening is everything out there, everything on your plate, everything on my plate, everything in society, these are all maturing. And we're going to see where we're at. That's basically what it's about. The maturing process is time to grow up. So if you look at this in terms of the coronavirus, it's time to grow up. That means it's time to get back to work. It's time to bite the bullet. It's time to roll up our sleeves and do what needs to be done. We're not kids anymore with this. Something has to happen, and by this full moon, that's what happens. You can say this the same going for the economy. The economy has to grow up. It has to roll up its sleeves and pay the piper. We've been living in a little fantasy world. We've been children. We've been going around spending our stimulus checks. And now it's time Time to grow up and act like adults. Time to get rid of these childish games that are going on. What's happening is we live in a society where we don't know what to believe anymore. I don't know what to believe anymore. I turn on the news, I have no idea who is spinning the truth, or spinning it this way or spinning it that way. We don't know. Everything's so confused. Well, what's happening through these 2 weeks is we are making up our minds. We are convincing ourselves of where we stand and what we do. And at the full moon, we move into the harvest cycle. And in the harvest cycle, probably the most likely thing we're going to be ending up doing is validating our circumstances, validating our stance. But between now and the full moon that's coming up, the Christ Festival, we are making up our minds. We're saying, this is what it is. This is where I'm at. And I'm growing up. I'm going to go deal with it. Whatever it is. And that's for the people that are working with the energy. Now, if you choose to remain a child, that's up to you, but it's moving on time. And there are some serious things that are being set up. For one thing, you can look at the presidential election, which is set up for November, which is the big harvest area for the United States. And the Democrats don't have a viable candidate at this point, and they've got to get one, but they're running out of time. This is a situation in which they're confronted with a crisis. The Trump administration has to successfully deal with the economy, the things like that, to keep the country viable. But it used to be childish games, okay? Now, between now and the next 2 weeks, we all make up our minds where we stand. And the people that believe in humanity, the people that believe in their heart, the people that believe in the still small voice of conscience, the spirituality, we are going to shake the world. We're going to change the world. We are changing the world because collectively we stand for common sense. We stand for decency. And there's some things that the energy is organic. The energy is earth energy. If you're talking about money, you're missing the boat. If you're talking about capitalism, you're missing the boat. If you're talking about attacking the other party or the other side, you're missing the boat. This is talking about heartfelt intentions of love and compassion for everybody. And this is our chance. And we walk a bridge. The far right and the far left are crazy. They're living in their heads. It's up to the rest of us who live in our hearts and have our feet on the ground. It's up to us to choose and to do, to act. And that means to grow up, to stand for ourselves. Now, I've tried to talk about Gaia's Ascension. I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to say it again in another way. Gaia and Gaia's Ascension and the energies of the new age deal with the individual, and they deal with soulmates. They deal with male-female relationships on a one-on-one basis. The old energy, the old way, dealt with the collective, the human collective. Everything dealing with power and manipulation in the old system, the old energies, dealt with manipulation of the collective, the human collective. The human collective still exists. We are all part of each other. But the masses, the human collective, can no longer be swayed one way or the other like it used to be. And that is because the new energy is balanced. We no longer have an imbalanced male, imbalanced female situation. There are enough balanced males and females in this world living right now to heal human society. And that's us. And that's what we have to do. There's no more room for hate. If you look at the yin-yang symbol, it spins in perfect balance and harmony. It's not the clash of opposites. It is not a battle. It is not a fight. There's gray. Everybody, you have the polarization of dual opposite, and however you want to say it, because it all boils down to the war of opposites. It has become the love of opposites, the integration of opposites. It's the gray area. It's the balance. And that is what we need to find. And between now and the next full moon in 2 weeks, we will find where we stand on that. So it's an exciting thing. It is an exciting time, and we are growing up. I'm running out of time. I hope I made sense on this. It's a Gaia update. Thank you.